Can a simple little primary song recreate heavenly light? That's one of the things we're going to discover today in this video. Hi, I'm Dr. Doug, and in this video I'm finishing my reviews of the first batch of hymns from the new LDS Hymnal by diving into a lovely Christmas-themed primary song called Starbright with words and music by Lauren F. Wheelwright. I'll highlight 5 techniques that make this song tick and that you can use right away in your own sacrament meeting music. Let's get started. Technique 1, double suspensions galore. One of the key features of this song is the double suspension that happens in almost every single 4-bar phrase. The song is organized in a verse-chorus structure. The verse begins here, of course, at the beginning. We have 4 plus 4, and then another 4 plus 4, so a 16-bar verse. And then on the second page, we have a 16-bar chorus. Well, 3 of the opening 4 bars of the verse and 3 of the 4-bar phrases of the chorus have these double suspensions. So here's what I'm talking about. Here at the beginning, we have the little duet. Right there. Or flowing. That's a suspension. Okay, that bottom note, the F sharp, suspends and then resolves. And it feels like a double suspension because it's moving in thirds. Technically, the soprano is not a suspension because it belongs to the chord. But because they're singing in thirds, it feels like that. Now, the second phrase is a real full-on double suspension. We get the beginning of the line. Those 2 notes hang over. The B and the G don't fit the chord, and then they do. And then it happens again the third line. This one's not quite a double suspension. It's technically a suspension in the soprano and an appoggiatura in the alto, but appoggiaturas are non-chord tones too. So again, it feels like a double suspension. Those don't fit and those fit. Okay, so every phrase so far, phrase 1, phrase 2, phrase 3, has a double suspension or somewhat of a double suspension in the 3rd bar. Then the 4th 4-bar phrase does not. Then the chorus happens and the same thing occurs. We get 3 double suspensions in each of the 3 first 4-bar phrases, just like in the verse. So this is a big part of what makes this song sound the way it does. The principle beneath this, more than just the niceness of suspensions, is finding a way to have a common thread through your song without going overboard and making it boring, which the composer does not here because the suspensions keep moving to different pitch areas, to pitch levels, and over different chords, which keeps it fresh enough and tethered together enough to make it a key part of the song, but not overbearing that it gets kind of in the way. Technique 2, twinkling star rhythm. Throughout this song, we have a very characteristic left-hand rhythm that goes, I believe, through every single bar except maybe the last bar of the verse and the last bar. Oh, there's pauses there. And the last bar of the piece as well. But everywhere else, we get this steady rhythm of dotted quarter, eighth, and 2 quarters with staccatos. Okay, it gives it a little bit of a dance feel. That's kind of like these little dancing stars, these little twinkling dancing stars. Okay, so that's fun to have a rhythmic gesture that does some word painting. But when we do that, we have to make sure that we still provide enough of a bass line and enough harmony with our left hand. And it does very well in this case. Many of these instances, we have a broken chord. So in this first measure, you can see the left hand notes D, A, and F sharp. That's the D major triad. D, F sharp, A, just spread out. D, 5th above to A, 6th above to F sharp. That gives us the full context of the chord, we still get the dancing rhythm, and we also provide a bass line so that we're getting throughout, it's not the most interesting bass line, but we have bass note, bass note, bass note, and so on. So we know there is a bass line, we get the dancing rhythm, and we get the fullness of the chord. That is what you want to do when you're writing a kind of a characteristic left-hand accompaniment like that for a piano part. This is going to be less interesting to play, or I would say less easy to play, actually, on the organ. It's very much piano writing. You can kind of make it work on the organ, but it's a little bit awkward. So this is piano music, but we'll do our best on the organ. Of course, the hymnal is being made to support a more worldwide church, and my guess is that the vast majority of churches around the world do not have an organ. Here in the United States, of course, most of them do, and perhaps in some other countries, I'm not positive. I know in South America, where I served my mission, there was never an organ in any of the chapels I was in. It was always a piano or a keyboard. So I think for that reason, it makes sense that we can sometimes mix in these pianistic primary songs. It'll just add a little extra challenge for our organists. Technique 3, alto stealing the spotlight. I love a good underdog story, and it seems like our altos tend to often be the underdog. In this little song, we get a couple of moments where the altos steal the show. Hooray! One of them is right here in bar 9. The sopranos go to this chromatic note of C natural, but then they repeat it a bunch. So the altos say, while you're repeating, dear soprano, let us take over the interest here, and we get... far more interesting than... right? So altos, take it away. Great little spot for the altos, and we get a similar thing down here, where again the melody is repeating itself. Let's see. Does it happen again? Yes, it does. Right here on the 5 chord, and I believe twice more here and here. So we get these little moments where the alto sort of takes over the foreground. This is reminiscent of the hymn, The Lord is My Shepherd, where the soprano part is quite monotone and the altos have this beautiful lyrical line. So sometimes this happens. Sometimes the melody doesn't need to move very much. When that happens, to add some interest, let the altos have the spotlight. They're ready. Technique 4, massive melodic jumps. At the start of the chorus, we begin with a very big leap in the melody. This is measure 17. Up to this point, we've had quite a few little leaps that then kind of come down the scale and resolve themselves. But we're always looking for something at the beginning of our chorus that energizes the chorus. We like to have these different feels or these different kind of energies during the verse versus during the chorus. If you think about a song like I'm Trying to Be Like Jesus, there's definitely a ramping up to the chorus, love one another as Jesus loves you. That's very common to have the chorus increase the energy. Lots of ways to do that. In this particular song, the way that this gets started is with the big octave leap in the melody. Oh, star bright. You can't help but get big when you go up an octave, especially to pretty much the top of the primary child's register. Sometimes we see an E flat or an E, but D, you don't want to go much higher than a D, and you don't want to stay there too long by any means, because you'll wear their little voices out. You'll wear our congregation's voices out too, typically. But the gesture of the octave leap gives us that new energy into the chorus. In this song, it also provides the climactic high note, and it makes sense with the stars because we're looking up to the stars. So star bright, we throw it up, and then it happens again Let's see, the halfway point right there starts again. Oh, star bright in heaven shining. So when you're looking for a way to energize the beginning of your chorus, this is an excellent technique. To find a large interval you haven't used yet, to start in a low place and go to the height of the register where you can have a nice big energetic move into your chorus. Technique 5, alternate ending to satisfy the melodic tendency. By the end of this song, there is a sense of wanting to get back to tonic, at least in my mind. As you play just the melody and you feel the balance of where it's gone throughout, there's a lot of phrases that end on the tonic chord, but not the tonic note. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it opens the door to allow us to keep going on to new phrases in a nice, natural way. But at the end, you expect to have a sense of finality. Now, not all pieces will do this, but for my way of feeling and thinking, I'm always like kind of weighing in the balance. How many times have I ended a phrase that way? And is it too many times? And the answer to that question is very individual and very subjective. So you may disagree 1000% with what I'm about to offer here, and that's okay. For my way of thinking, by the end of this piece, I am waiting for the tonic. We have not really had the low tonic note very much. We've had the high tonic note several times during the chorus, but to me it feels like the stars want to shine down on us and let us have this light on Christmas Day, which to me feels like coming back down to tonic. So rather than ending like this, 5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, I want to end on 1. So I've got a little alternate ending here. And again, this is completely subjective, but this could work beautifully when you get to bar 30. And on tonic instead of G, 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 F sharp. I'm recommending G, C sharp, E, D, and we get the end. So if you do that, though, you have to change the left hand a little bit, because by this measure, that low F, that low D, in the melody, is too low to provide a third of the chord up in that octave of the piano. So you have to put the third of the chord down in the thumb in that lower octave, the F sharp below middle C. And if I were personally to do that, I would then want to extend the harmonic tension just a bit by going away from it and coming back to it. So I would do something like this. Ooh, if I play the right notes, it'll help. Do you hear how that keeps the tension and the interest going? G and E, and then back to F sharp. Again, total personal preference. There's really nothing wrong with what's in the song already. It just, to my ear, there was a balance of missing that low tonic somewhere, and if there's anywhere to put it, it's at the end of the piece. Now, of course, we do get it at the beginning of the chorus. Oh, star bright. So it does happen. But something about the end, for me, feels final when we come down to that tonic. So what's my opinion of this hymn? I'm reasonably happy with it. It's a beautiful little song. It doesn't strike me as a particularly amazing song, but not every song needs to be earth-shatteringly amazing. It's a lovely little song. I think it's a beautiful message. I think it's a very welcome Christmas-themed song, and I bet the children will love it. It's got that nice, fun feel and some good, big things to sing in it. I think the kids will really like it. It's definitely not organ music, and it'll be a challenge for organists, but that's okay. If you'd like to download the complete harmonic analysis of this song, I've dropped a link down in the description box below. And if you've enjoyed these reviews, please support my channel by hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell, so you won't miss any future videos. I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.